Welcome to Namaste today, a soothing way to start your day. I'm your host, Sensei Christopher Witecki, psychic astrologer and friend to the world. This webisode is for Friday, December 23rd, 2016. Welcome, my friend, and Namaste. It's just 2 days before Christmas, and things may be a little hectic, but it also may be that today, step 2 rules the day. And just yesterday, I did a special piece on the blue twos. Well, my friend, in the next 24 hours, things might get emotional, and Sensei says it's not necessarily you, it's the two. And in today's tea time, I'm going to talk about a concept of 5D. As we're in Mercury retrograde, what exactly needs to change in our control? I've got some tips today on the 5th dimension. But first, let's take a look at today's mood and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Friday, December 23rd, 2016. Well, today the twos take over, and the moon is in Scorpio, so we are feeling very passionate about many things in our life, and at the same time, a bit vulnerable. The moon will cross in the early degrees of Scorpio today. And of course, we have Christmas right around the corner. What will the zodiac weather of that be like? Let's take a look at the planets. Today I predict it to be partly cloudy with a chance of moodiness. And that's from the combined effect of step 2 ruling the day, which is I feel, and the moon in Scorpio. Let's start with our party of twos. There's a lot of twos going on out there. We've got Uranus at step 20, Chiron at step 20, our Saturn at step 20, and Jupiter at step 20. Each one of those starts with a 2, and today step 2 rules the day. That is all I feel. And because we're in Capricorn, we're in the actual sign of control. So what you have in this particular transit is, if people are controlling of their emotions normally, if normally you're a person that keeps it under control, Sensei has found in this step 2 day of Capricorn, we can lose control. So just a little bit of a warning out there. You might feel a little emotional. There's a lot of passion, and people are kind of ready to slip. The truth is, everyone will slip just somehow, somewhere between now and Christmas Day. This is just typical of the steps 2, 3, and 4. But this particular year, we have a lot of pressure, as I reported on yesterday, at the step 20 level, which means that we feel a lot of passion and we may feel a bit of vulnerability. So the best thing to do is just take some time and space for your own feelings before you go bouncing off with family members and go running off into traffic or whatever it is you have to do that might be busy with the holiday. Now, the moon today is in Scorpio, and the other part of all those 20s is the 0, step 0. And so literally our emotions will be sensitive to boundaries. And this is going to be true for the entire weekend. Everyone will be sensitive to boundaries, and the moon will cross over Black Lilith as well on Christmas morning. Black Lilith is what we are afraid of. So just to put it out there, you might have to face some sort of fear or open up to graduating from a fear on Christmas Day. I honestly cannot remember in recent history of Black Lilith playing a huge role on Christmas before. We literally will be facing some fears, and it could bring kind of a dark tone to the passion. That's just an FYI. Now, speaking to the weekend's zodiac weather, Christmas Eve will actually be the easiest going day. That's Saturday, of course. And so, honestly, if you're planning any events, it might be a little hectic, but the planets look pretty good for Christmas Eve. On Christmas Day, step 4 rules the day, and this is typically the breakdown, breakthrough energy. And so, honestly, I'm predicting any time between Friday and Sunday, people could have a little bit of a breakdown and breakthrough. It might be a minor breakdown, it might be private, but because of all the 2s and all the 20s, there's a lot more emotion and passion behind this little breakdown than normally would occur. Not to mention, we're facing some sort of fear with the moon crossing Black Lilith on Christmas morning. So if you feel weird, if you feel out of place, if you feel like a stranger in a strange land, I think that's just the vibration of this Christmas. let's not forget Mercury is retrograde. So our minds are interpreting things from a different perspective. Name tags on Christmas gifts might be wrong, right? Like new gadgets will come without batteries. So you have that extra element of Mercury retrograde bizarreness to just add a taint to the weekend. Either way, I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's going to be a crisis. I just think we're all going to feel a little strange. And that really brings me to today's tea time topic. Go grab yourself some tea and let's have our holiday tea time. Happy holidays, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is 5D Enlightenment. 5D Enlightenment. And what I mean by 5D is the fifth dimension, which in Lightwalker talk is our modern term for enlightenment. We talk about going up to the fifth dimension and ascending to the fifth dimension, that human beings are going to rise into this new dimension, a more vivid and more connected and more enlightened and more happy. And this is kind of our modern spiritual myth. Now, I don't necessarily think this is a myth. I am witnessing in my clients and everywhere expanded awareness. This is the first time in human history I think we have talked about past lives and accepted it so much. This is the first time we have been so open to psychic ability, so open to the afterlife, and we're not even going to church anymore. We've all withdrawn to church. People are finding their own spiritual path, and this has been happening at a steady increased rate since the Mayan shift in 2012. I'm seeing people that have never been interested in these topics getting interested and educating. And I'm seeing many of my clients, particularly in their charts, where their psychic abilities are opening for the first time in this life. And you're starting to have their own conversations with God and their own conversations with their guides. So really, honestly, psychics are going to be out of business eventually, I think, because almost all human beings are going to read themselves and for themselves. Now, some planetary indication of this is all the energy in Pisces. For my astro nerds out there like myself who loves the astrology, Neptune in Pisces and Chiron in Pisces is certainly opening up our psychic channels alone. But I bring all this up because I was having a conversation in a reading with a client, and I was thinking about the conversion of 3D to 5D. And I realized that for us to get to 5D enlightenment, there are two states of awareness or two dimensions that we absolutely have to start including in our moment-to-moment reality. And those two dimensions are one's feelings and one's heart. We are not, in our culture, trained to listen to our feelings. In fact, we're kind of ridiculed and teased, especially in the male world, if we succumb to our feelings. It's almost like it's a bad thing. Yet our emotions are a huge part of our life. And, animals pretty much communicate through emotions telepathically. And here we are trying to ignore our feelings, something as basic at being human as eating, right? So I think to get to 5D, one of the ways to get there is to literally incorporate your emotions. In other words, be aware of how you feel and consider your feelings in everything you do. Consider your feelings with everything, how you will feel. And you don't have to worry about how it'll make other people feel, because if you are conscious to how it'll make you feel, you will instantly know how it makes other people feel. So focusing on our feelings, incorporating our feelings, I think that's one of the dimensions we have to really get under our wing if we're going to evolve into 5D. The other dimension is our heart. How often do you honestly ask your heart for advice? How often do you give the decision to your heart? How often do you consult your heart? Really, the only real conversation we have with our heart is at the altar when we decide to marry someone. That's probably the biggest conversation we have. Otherwise, our heart is maybe going out to people, our heart loves people, but are we really asking our heart? In other words, the practical here is you always think about if you should do something, But you should also ask your heart, hey, is my heart in it? Does my heart want to do this? Is my heart behind this statement? Is my heart behind this action? And the truth of the matter is, when you do start asking your heart, the answer is going to be no a lot of the times. Because human beings today pretty much only listen to two states of awareness. They listen to their mind, which I call the smartass, and they listen to their ego, which is their pride, their jealousy, these other emotions, or these other feelings that come up. This comes from the ego. In fact, science has pretty much locked us into the mind, and we've been brainwashed, literally, and distracted. We've been told that our mind and logic and provability is the only thing that matters. We've been told that math and science are the only thing that matters. And we've been told that you have to prove everything with evidence, and to listen to your feelings or listen to your heart is not logical and not practical. But the truth is, our feelings and our heart are big pieces of what it's about to be human. And from my perspective as Sensei, these voices, our emotion and our heart, have different conversations, different agendas, and bring the whole picture of us to the table. So I believe to get to 5D enlightenment, we have to be mindful of our feelings and of our heart. These are the two dimensions that have to be added to our moment-to-moment reality. And you might wonder, why are you bringing this up over Christmas, Sensei? Well, the reason is Mercury is retrograde in Capricorn. And right now, while we're doing all this holiday hustling and bustling, in the background, our mind is wondering what we're not getting right. And we're rethinking how we get things done and how we are in control of things. And I'm just throwing out there, if you're rewiring the control manual of how you get things done, you should consider in this new manual or in this new operation to include the information from your feelings and your heart if you want to have an enlightened new year. So think about that, my friend, and think about what your feelings and your heart have to say about everything in your life. While Mercury is retrograde, try to reprogram that smartass of yours to think for others. And when I say think for others, I mean think for other parts of yourself. Okay, my dear friend, well, I want to wish you a happy holidays. I hope you have a peaceful weekend despite the minor breakthrough going on. And I'll be back on Monday with a video version of Namaste Today to smile and say I love you in person on camera. But until then, do remember that I do love you, and live, love, be.